Welcome to our second webinar within series of webinar to support Castle Rock Fund, which is Geshe Michael's project that aims to assure 11 projects. And we are very happy to introduce to you our today's speaker guest, Hector Marcel. So Hector is president of Three Jewels. It is a New York-based studio which is dedicated to help people reach their higher potential through meditation, yoga, public talks, and community outreach. And Hector is a master teacher of meditation and Eastern philosophy. And he is linking these ancient ideas to modern Western system for individuals and for big teams. Hector serves also as a in the board of Asian Classics Institute, which is also one of the Geshe Michael's projects. And me personally, I was amazed by listening to one of Hector's class when I was taking ACI course. He's an amazing speaker. I'm sure you will really, really love today's webinar. And today, Hector will share with us how to transform crisis mindset by using the power of timeless wisdom. So, how to transform crisis to opportunity. I invite you to welcome Hector with hearts, with flowers, and we will start.
Hi, thank you, Julia, and thanks everyone that's joining. Like Julia said, my name is Hector. It sounds like a really nice introduction, but I am also just a human being living this precious human life and trying my hardest to make the very best out of it, day after day after day, like all of us, right? Life happens, there's good things, there's hard things, but how can we really experience day to day the most extraordinary part of ourselves and the things around us? And for me, over the last 25 years, the one thing that keeps helping me is this ancient wisdom. The ancient wisdom that I got to learn firsthand from Geshe Michael Roach, who over the last 25 years has become a teacher, mentor, and just an inspirational figure. So I decided to devote all my time and energy as much as I could, besides my regular day work, to helping Geshe Michael realize his dream of getting this wisdom into the hearts and minds of anyone who wants to improve their lives, their families' lives, their communities, and really reach an ultimate of our human potential. So I want to thank you for joining. I want to say hi. Feel free to send an emoji or something to say hi. And I'm going to cover just a couple of things. I'm going to do a little bit about me, who I am, just so you know where I come from, my perspective. I'm going to cover a little bit about Three Jewels, the organization. It's been around as long as I've met Geshe Michael, 25 years, and how that has evolved and grown, and what we do today, thanks to the source of the information we share in the heart of New York City, that source being ancient wisdom, the stuff we're talking about from the fundraising for this Rockaway Fund. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Three Jewels, and then I want to show you just a snippet on how we use that ancient wisdom at Three Jewels with our clients, with our students, with our corporate connections, and how we share that ancient wisdom in practical, meaningful terms today. And so I'll do those three things, and that part is about turning crisis into opportunity. So here we go. Correct, I'm Hector Marcel. As you can tell, I don't know if you can tell from my accent, I have an Australian accent. I'm not American, although I've lived in the United States now for 12 years. And before that, in the 90s, when I first met Geshe Michael and Three Jules. And really, in my early life, like most people in their early life, you begin to realize that the human condition has in it not just happiness and joy and career and opportunity. It has hardships, it has problems, it has relationship breakups, it has some suffering. And so in my 20s, I got to taste a little, a medium, and sometimes a lot of that suffering. And I'm laughing about it now, but I wasn't laughing about it then. When you encounter suffering, like we recently have in a global scale with the pandemic, our impulse is to try and stop the suffering. But our strategy to stop the suffering oftentimes creates more suffering, especially in the long run. And it wasn't until I met Geshe Michael and the wisdom that comes from Eastern traditions that I was able to actually grab that suffering, acknowledge it, and transform it into some opportunity, something that made the experience not just better and not just neutral, but extraordinary. And so I hope in the next 40 minutes that we have together, just to give you a taste of that, because if we get nothing else out of today, I would like you to walk away with the idea, the hope, or maybe some skill that doesn't matter what next problem comes up, you can find through this wisdom, you can find the opportunity, the awakening, the aha, and maybe the inspiration to not just make your own life better, but to make the life of those around you better, your communities and your friends and your families, and maybe even the world. So I hope to do that together. So congratulations for being here. Congratulations for bringing your mind to the possibility of not crisis, no crisis, but opportunity. But before I go there, let me tell you a little bit more about myself and Three Jules. I'm going to share a small presentation just to give you a visual experience of what I'm talking about. Let me take a minute. And you should all see a little blank slideshow. If you can, give me your thumbs up. Thank you. So this is a little bit about me. After meeting Geshe Michael, I realized very quickly that wisdom ideas are not just intellectual. You have to practice them. There's one thing to know about cause and effect, the cause of the seeds we plant in our minds, the intention through which we act. I can intellectualize that. I can tell you the 4 forces, and I can tell you the 4 steps, and I can tell you the seed and the pen and all these metaphors of wisdom that come from Eastern tradition. And to know something is one thing, but to actually practice it, to actually turn it into your everyday, oh my God, that's difficult. But when you do it, only then will you actually see the results. So I learned that pretty early on. I met Geshe Michael in 1995, and I had some human problems, and I tried all the normal methods. And when I was desperate, then I asked him for help, and he taught me the 4 steps. And I was so desperate that I'd put them into practice. So if you want to know a little bit about that, I invite you to go to TED Talks, TEDx, and look up How to Get Rid of the Angry Boss by Hector Marcel. And that's the story of when I actually, for the first time, didn't just think about transforming my life, but actually made efforts, put into practice, transforming my life. The short story from that TED Talk, How to Get Rid of the Angry Boss, is that there is power in here through my actions of body, speech, and mind, what I do with my mouth, what I say, what I think, and what I do, that if I can control those better, the results in my life will be better. And so I can understand that intellectually. But in the TED talk, you'll see how difficult it was to put into practice. It took several months to actually see a transformation in my outer world. And that story, I thought it was a nice moment of experience for me, but that became an anchor of this ancient wisdom into practice that served the rest of my life. And so from then on, I decided I would become a teacher in the corporate world, because lots of people work in corporations and all the human suffering happens at home or in the office. And so I've worked with all these organizations trying to merge traditional modern business methods and putting inside of them the wisdom of the 4 steps or the pen and all the things I was secretly learning thanks to the Eastern wisdom. Because in the 90s, in the 2000s, people were not very interested in Eastern philosophy or meditation. They thought that was weird. So I sort of had to hide it from people, and I expressed it through working with all these organizations. And the results were amazing. I was able to help individuals and teams in all of these organizations, some of them private, some of them public, some of them governments in Australia, the US, and South America. And I was actually able to see the results of putting this ancient wisdom into practice. And again, like me, usually people don't put these things to practice until there's a crisis, until there's a problem, because you're really invested. So that's the beginning of my journey. Fast forward, 15 years later, and I find myself back in New York City meeting with 3 Jewels, and 3 Jewels itself, the organization, one of the organizations that Geshe Michael started to teach on the Eastern philosophy and the wisdom from the East. It needed some help. And so I was able to be part of that transformation. And we transformed it from this tiny little studio that 3 or 4 people that were friends used to go and study. And now we've turned it into something magnificent that in 2021 is serving thousands of people with hundreds of programs. And I hope to give you just a taste of how the essential power of that ancient wisdom translates in New York City, and now thanks to the blessing of COVID to people around the world. So let me give you a quick taste of that. This is 3 Jewels. We call ourselves the Enlightenment Studio. And I know that I can't do that in Australia. I know that I can't do that with too many of my corporate clients. But in New York City, everyone's crazy. So you can say crazy things and people like it. So enlightenment is like, what? So I know it's a crazy idea for most people, but in New York, it works perfect. So we decided we're not a yoga studio. We're not a gym. We are here to put light into the darkness of your mind. We're an enlightenment studio, and we're proud of it, and it feels really good to say, right? Because it's really what I mean. What if you could wake up enlightened, the experience of 1 person or 2 people, and then their world changes? If 3 Jewels can do that, then we really are not just a gym, and not anybody can go to a gym. Anybody can do yoga. But can you do yoga with this ancient wisdom and then see your life transform? And that's in essence one of the goals of 3 Jewels. So let me give you a taste. We've been open since 1996. In 2020, we had 2,500 classes, free or by donation to the public. We're a non-profit. So people can come to 3 Jewels, virtually or for real, and have these experiences and learn the power of your own mind. And if you put it into practice, the results that can come from practicing a different way of engaging with the human condition. We had 40,000 visits at 3 Jewels in 2020, 36,000 the year before. That's a lot of people wanting to understand how their minds work and what they can do about it. And it's joyful. Yes, there's tears. Yes, people bring problems. But when they walk out, they've transformed those problems into something, or at least have the recipe on how to transform. And then they keep coming back. And we are run by volunteers. We really have only 3 staff at 3 Jewels, but over 100 people, like the people that are put together this event, who volunteer their time, their energy, their skill in order to help other people have the experiences that they've had with this ancient wisdom. And most of my time is also volunteered. I've got income, I've got houses, I've got businesses. I don't need the money, but in my time at 3 Jewels, which is like 85% of my time, it's free or by donation. Because I love that we can do this as human beings, try and understand what it is that's broken or breaking, and how easily it can be transformed if we know how. There's also a lot of misinformation about ancient wisdom. There's also a lot of misinformation on how to transform a human experience. But I believe the after 25 years of testing the seed system, the 4 steps, the pen, and all the other implications, we have a really powerful and effective, something that really works if you practice it. It doesn't work if you just do it without intention. So let me tell you a little bit more. I hope that's resonating with you, and I hope you get the feeling of how incredible it is to be part of something extraordinary in New York, that in just, 6 years, we transformed it from maybe having 500 people come to 40,000 people visit. It's pretty extraordinary. And a whole rebrand, and I put my business thinking in there. This is what the studio looks like, and this is our vision. We want to create a place where anyone can have extraordinary, not normal, extraordinary realizations, and they do it through Dharma or wisdom talks, meditation, yoga, and a ton of community activity. So let me show you some of those. This is the team, the core team of volunteers. And as you can see, they're just stunning, young, vibrant. And I know that you don't know these faces like I know these faces, but behind every eye in this picture, there is a story that is just like yours. They have a family, they have hopes, they have anger, jealousy, they have normal human problems. And all of these people, without exception, has put into practice this ancient wisdom, and it changed them so much that they want to help other people have the same experience. So it's a place run by volunteers, and our volunteers are magic, about 100 of them. We teach meditation, but we don't teach meditation, you have to be like a statue. Real meditation is the capacity of the human mind to focus, to pay attention. And that attention you can then put onto anything that is important to you. At work, with family, your health, your mental issues, your mental hopes. With attention, which is the practice of meditation, bringing attention, you will be able to see through a problem enough to get an awakening, an an enlightenment moment, where you can say, wow, I see where the real pain comes from. And then you can transform it. So we teach that, and we offer many, many classes a day on meditation. We also mentor teachers. There are yoga teachers, meditation teachers, coaching teachers in other industries and in other studios who come to 3 Jewels because of the ancient wisdom, because we know really the technology of the human mind. And so we come and do mentorship with those teachers so they can take this wisdom and take it to their communities, their studios, and the rest. I hope this is like good for you. I'm not sure, I can't see your faces, so I'm hoping it's good. It feels good to me to share because it's like a celebration. This is some of our pre-COVID yoga classes, so no masks. Now we still do that, and we do it on an outdoor space in New York in the middle of the city with skyscrapers and the stairwells that you see in movies, and it feels really cool. But we also have classes in the studio. This is the wisdom courses. There's Geshe Michael Roach over there, if you can see him, and there's myself, and this is really the essence of 3 Jewels, and then we broadcast from there. We have a cafe and retail, so it's a really cool space. You can come in a really nice section of New York City. It's a little arty, musicians, crazy people, but wonderful. And people come and have coffee and they work, and it's just a fantastic place to hang out and have a debate, to talk about the things that are really important. And more than ever, in 2020 and 2021, we should be having discussions about what's really important. But if you have those discussions with the Eastern wisdom, the ancient wisdom from the East, applied to the West or modern day, then you can really get results. I'm running fast. Public events, so we host them at the Lincoln Center and in big venues when we get visits from either Geshe Michael or other prominent teachers. And then that's 3 Joules community. And then in there, we go out to organizations. This is a school in New York City. This is all their teachers in the school. And we teach them a condensed version of this ancient wisdom, but to be applied in there every day. So teachers that teach many other people can really can see the spark and the opportunity in whatever is in front of them. Crisis, problem, nice days, doesn't matter. If they can have wisdom about those things, then they're really helping the young children coming up through the education system. So we don't just do it for teachers, we do it for all these brands as well. We have contracts with the Department of Education, with New York City. We even had it with Cartier and a bunch of other really cool names that we get to work and go and do workshops over there for their teams, for their executives, so they can take care of their minds and take care of each other. Because if their minds are clear with this wisdom, if their vision is clear, they can do their work much, much better. They can really be of service to the world through all the things that all these organizations do. The other thing we do at 3 Joules, it feels like a promo of 3 Joules, but really it's a celebration of all the different things we get to do from the same ancient wisdom. From that, we do all these things. So we do advanced meditation teacher trainings. In the last year, we graduated about 200 teachers in the detail on how to focus the mind, what to focus it on, how to teach someone else to do it. And it's a really successful program at 3 Joules. We do the same for yoga. And I think there's a little video. Let me have a look. The video will get you a little flavor, and I'm going to stop it halfway through before it gets really silly, just so I can teach you something else. I couldn't stop the video earlier. We also do retreats, both meditation retreat and yoga retreats, but you'll get a flavor of what community looks like when people are doing something they really enjoy. Here we go.
So aren't you glad to meet me? I think you should, I'd be glad to meet me. If I were you, aren't you glad to meet me? I think you should. I make a real good song out of you, time and ticking slow. Yes, you're overdue, aren't you glad to meet me? I think you should. I mean, I really think you should, yeah.
Because there were a lot of flies, not because we're singing. So she was a little strange.
You should be glad I'm here awakening you. So aren't you glad to meet me? I think you should, I'd be glad to meet me. If I were you, aren't you glad to meet me? I think you should. I make a real good song out of you, time and ticking slow. Yes, you're overdue, aren't you glad to meet me? I think you should. I mean, I really think you should, yeah.
Well, what I wanted to show you there is that ancient wisdom can be fun. It should be fun. It should be an experience that lights your heart on fire, that makes you love people you didn't know, that makes you want to stay together with strangers. And we've been able to do that at 3 Joules only because of this ancient wisdom. I know because I've worked for 20 years in large organizations like Hitachi, Intel, Microsoft, and they are trying desperately to get community in their workplace. But people want more. People want real meaning. People want this power to be sustained and not to be transactional. And so the core of all the things we do with this ancient wisdom, if I can put it in one sentence at 3 Joules, it's this. Is if we want something, help someone else get it. It's radical kindness. You know this from the 4 steps. And that's like the simplest distilled version of what this ancient wisdom has done for this tiny community in New York City, 3 Joules. And it's exploded it over the last 6 to 7 years once we put some attention on it. We're a non-profit, like the other organizations, or most of the other organizations that Geshe Michael started. It's for the good of the world. And so here's another little snippet of the kind of things we do. We don't just sell meditation and yoga and have fun and dress up. We also take care of communities who cannot take care of themselves because they haven't reached just the basic level of having a home or having mental health or experiencing extreme poverty or something like this. So with all the excess of 3 Joules, if we want happiness, we must help other people get happiness. And here is another program that's running in homeless shelters in New York. It's running in places where families come from domestic violence, or they have issues with the way they see the world. And we try and impart the best of this ancient wisdom with the infinite potential in those people. So one of this is a homeless shelter. We did this trial with the city of New York, and this is just a 1-minute video, so enjoy this one to get another flavor of the kind of things we can do with this ancient wisdom in the modern world. So you have to read. So that's 3 Joules. I wanted to give you a taste of what we're able to craft and create. Not because we're good business people, we're terrible business people. We give everything away for free. It's not because, we have some special something individually. It's because we've been able to apply this trickle down of ancient wisdom that came from Geshe Michael finding books around the world through the ALL, or Asian Classics Input Project, and painstakingly translating them into English, Spanish, Russian, other languages in order for us to get that idea in our heads. But then that's not enough. We need people to do something with that, to transform that into a practice, to try it in your life in one way. And at 3 Joules, we're just a group of silly people that decided to do that together because it's easier to do something together, like your gold clubs, etc. It's easier to improve together than just on my own. So I hope that gave you a flavor of that. Another way that we get to translate that ancient wisdom is bridge it into existing wisdoms. Because people have all sorts of traditions. They don't have to be Eastern. It's just the wisdom of human beings on this planet that can transcend the human condition. And everyone has the human condition. According to Indians and Tibetans, animals are also human conditioned. They're called semchen, which means mind possessors, holders of mind. So any creature living on the planet that has a consciousness can benefit from the practices of this human condition. And in China, let me just share again, in China, there is, let me share, not that one. Sorry about this, that'll be a second, here we go. There's a word for crisis in China, which is not the way we translate it into English or into Spanish. Crisis triggers problems, right? And 2020 and 2021 is definitely a crisis moment. It's a crisis moment for the planet. It's a crisis moment for individuals and communities. And so what do we do with crises? If we don't have wisdom, we panic. And what we tend to do as humans is we tend to hurt or create more problems in trying to fix the crisis. But real wisdom, meaning wisdom that actually works, uses the crisis to stop the future crises forever. And I love the way that the Chinese have this word crisis, and it talks about ancient wisdom. This is the Chinese word Wei Ji. Wei Ji. Wei is the first symbol, Ji is the second, and it translates to danger. Wei is danger, and Ji is opportunity. So what we call crises, think about it, in the minds of the people of China at least, crisis means there's an opportunity in this danger. It doesn't have to be terrible. Can you find the opportunity and the crisis disappears? You see? And so I love that. And it's not just in China. And it's not just in the ancient wisdom that we are so fortunate to get from ALL, Asian Classics Institute, and all the other organizations that Geshe Michael's crafted for us to apply. It appears in China through language. There are crises everywhere, not just in 2020. Every one of you will have or have had some individual family crisis, personal crisis. We're talking about transforming that danger into opportunity. It's possible, but you've got to learn how. And so I thought I'd share with you one of the ways that we at Three Jewels, using ancient wisdom, knowing exactly what this wisdom is, which is, you know, if you've heard it, it's the pen. I'm not going to teach the pen. And it's the four, and it's planting seeds, and every action has an equal and opposite reaction in your mind. So it doesn't matter that I'm being nice. If I'm thinking bad, I'm planting bad seeds, meaning I'm going to have to experience bad because I'm thinking bad. And the practice is transform that thinking. There's an opportunity there. Danger, there's an opportunity there. And every one of you, like every one of me and all my friends and all our communities, can turn any crisis into an opportunity. And here's an example in the United States. The United States has a big issue with race. It's black versus white for a long time. But here comes a man, Martin Luther King, who saw Wei Ji. He saw the opportunity in a crisis. He's like, no, we don't have to live in crisis. I have a dream. He saw this opportunity, and then he needed to enact that. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there is so much goodness that came from the crisis of the 60s that Martin Luther King was involved in, and he actually turned it into opportunity for thousands of people, millions of people in the United States and in the world, yeah, as did Nelson Mandela in race issues and the rest. So it's the same wisdom. It doesn't have to be crisis. And COVID doesn't have to be terrible. It might be the best thing that's happened to us to wake us up, if you can find the wisdom with it. I have this question every time I do a corporate event, every time I teach a big class. I ask people, do we need to change? Does the world need to change? Put up your hand if the world needs to change. And everyone puts up their hands. Everyone always puts up their hand. And it's true. Things need to change. Then I ask them, who wants to change personally? Put up your hand. And all the hands go down. We need to change. I'm not changing. You change. And that's the opposite of wisdom. That's the complete opposite of wisdom. You want to change. Good. That's a good step. It's correct. We want to stop the crisis. We want to stop the suffering. We want to stop the problems. We need a change. Who wants to change? Nobody. Me too, right? Like, it's not natural impulse. And this is where ancient wisdom can really help. Because if you understand that the change begins in you, then the world will change. And there's no better example than, I don't know if you know this phrase, change yourself first is a tip, right? It's a tip from an ancient person, one person, sorry, not ancient, 1940s, one person that changed an entire country. They moved India from being under the rule of the United Kingdom and made it an independent country, and that was Mahatma Gandhi. And he said, you must be the change you want to see in the world first. And that's exactly the same wisdom as the wisdom of seeds. Whatever you think, say, and do leaves an imprint in your mind, and then because things don't have a nature, pen, you are forced to see what you do in the world. It's exactly the same thing. You want to see the world change? Guess who has to change? It's you. The goodness about that is that the fantastic thing about that is once you understand how, that's real freedom. Real freedom. No one can change you except you. No one can change the way you experience the world except you. And so I invite you to think through the implications. Is there some change that I can do to change my world? And the answer is not as easy as it seems. Because we usually think, oh, I have to change this thing about me and this thing about me and this thing about me. And we're looking at the way I am and the way I think and the way I do things. And we try and change those things as if they are out there. But the real change, the biggest change that we have to do is change the lens through which we do all that change. And I hope that's landing. Okay, because if it's just normal Hector, angry Hector, depressed Hector trying to change, I am also planting seeds of angry, depressed, normal. We have to eventually change the identity of who we think we are. And if you understand the wisdom of the pen, you are infinite potential, just like the pen. You're not what you think you are. There's infinite potential in that thing that is you. And you knew that as a child. And then reality hit you. And then you believed it. And so one of the powerful things about ancient wisdom is you know you are practicing it well. A, if it hurts a little, because as the crust of the old identity comes out, it hurts a little to get new skin. But it will also feel completely freeing, bigger, expansive. And this man knew it. He just used different words than the pen. But it's the same thing. You want to see change in your world? Change the lens through which you do things in your world. And then you'll know which changes. Start one at a time. Here's a couple of other tips that Mahatma Gandhi said. See, nobody can hurt you if your mind isn't capable of experiencing hurt. So in a sense, you are in control. At the very least, which is the foundation of who you are in control to interpret every experience how you would like to become. If you want to be the change you want to see in the world, then use that control, which takes some training. That's why meditation, right? Which takes some training. You have the last control to say, I choose to turn this crisis into opportunity. Or I choose, it hurts, this crisis. It's terrible things happened in 2020. Do you choose to stay in the terrible, or do you choose to look for what the lesson is? At the very least, you could learn something. Now, it's easy for me to say, I've taken 25 years to practice. It's a little bit easier now to practice because I've seen some evidence. And I hope that's true for you too. Next time you have some terrible thing happen, know that at the end of the day, you do have some choice. Maybe not the first thought, maybe not the second thought, but the third thought. You get some direction. You get to choose how to interpret that experience. And I invite you to remember, Weiji, crisis means danger, opportunity, both. Yeah. And here's the other thing. These are all quotes from Mahatma Gandhi, and I'm going to give you a gift of 10 quotes from Mahatma Gandhi to help you along the way to interpret with more detail than this on how to apply these things. So I hope if you donate, I think that's what we're doing, Yulia. Yeah. If you want to donate to maintaining this ancient wisdom alive and bubbling out of ancient libraries and put into languages that we can apply and have these things turn on in our lives, then you'll get a list, at least from my talk, a list of 10 of these mini wisdom advices. Now, without action, you aren't going anywhere. You can think wisdom all you like. You can wish happiness all you like, but you got to take some action. You got to change something inside, or change the way you say things. You know, like one of the things about ancient wisdom says there's 3 ways to plant seeds in your consciousness. You do it through your words, you do it through your actions, and you do it through your thoughts. Body, speech, and mind. Yeah. If you can do good actions, good words, good thoughts, you must have good results. Yeah. Because they're the 3 ways that the seeds get planted. You hear what you say, you feel what you do, and you are aware of what you think. So that's just the philosophy. But what is the actual action there? Here is the beginning, right? The action is stop saying bad things to people. Like, stop, control your mouth. I mean, it's simple, right? Part of me, after 25 years, cannot control the dulce de leche ice cream in my mouth, right? Like, I'm trying to control my body not to put the sweetness of dulce. That's why I've got a big tummy, right? But I'm still trying. There are other things I've changed, but I haven't changed the ice cream yet. If I want this to be true, I have to practice this. Control your body, control your speech. And the most difficult is control the way you frame things. Rethink the way you think things. That's hard. That's why meditation is so important. It's not because some good thing happens when you sit like that. Meditation lets you be very aware of what is going on in your mind. And at the beginning, you're going to be surprised. There's a lot of garbage in our minds. And that's Weiji. There's opportunity there in that danger. Because when you get past the garbage, there's also infinite goodness in your mind. And you can activate it. If you've ever felt in love, if you've ever felt kindness, that's also in your mind. And you have that opportunity to amplify that goodness. Ancient wisdom teaches you how. It's amazing. So, then you're not alone on the planet. There's many, many people. And something you can do with this ancient wisdom is beginning to see that not everyone out there is out to get you. Look for the good in them. Anyone can find problems. It's easy. That's dumb. That's like an ant can find a problem. It runs away from a problem. But we have the capacity for wisdom. And one of the wisdoms is, can you begin to amplify finding the good in people and then helping them. And why? Because there's going to be more good. If you want the change we want to see in the world, then don't just help yourself, help other people do that. That amplifies the seed. It's fertilizer on the seed. And another quote from Mahatma Gandhi, these are just quotes from him, right? And they sound like they came straight out of Geshe Michael's translations of the Ancient Classics Institute. It's pretty amazing. And with the giveaway sheet that comes with your donation, you're going to get a little bit more detail on ease. This is number 9 on that list. You do have to be congruent. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be honest. You have to be authentic. Yeah, like I admit I eat too much ice cream. Promise, it's true. It causes some suffering, but I got rid of other sufferings. But you have to be true. And then there's this quote, right? Mahatma Gandhi said, be congruent, be authentic, be your true self. But if you've studied this ancient wisdom, true self has a much more powerful meaning. What are you at your deepest, deepest, deepest essence? And Eastern ancient tradition will tell you, you are infinite potential. I'm not saying just human. There's something in you that, if activated, is extraordinary. You're like a god. So, like, you could walk around this planet and experience nothing but joy for everyone and bliss. That's possible in your mind. True self. What is that? That's worthy investigating. So now, last, I know I got no time at all, Yulia. I wanted to say the focus is help as many people as you can get this ancient wisdom into modern times, because we need it today more than ever. People around the world need these truths to be activated in their world. Yeah, and I know you're doing it in Russian-speaking languages. I know you're doing it in the Ukraine. Hi, I loved going there. I know you're doing it in Romania. Hi, I loved going there. I know you're doing it in Germany. No, I loved going there. I love Germany. Right? But we need more people, more teachers, more places where people can find real wisdom. And so I want to celebrate a couple of things that 3 Jewels has done. In the pandemic, we decided to really give back to the world as much as we can. So in donations to other organizations, even though we're a non-profit and we operate tightly, in 2020 we gave away $35,000 to other organizations, not 3 Jewels, not Geshe Michael organizations, other organizations, to help them through the pandemic. We've had like 1,000 days, almost 900 days of volunteer hours, people volunteering their entire day, 900 days, taking care of other people. And $95,000 in scholarships or discounts to people that can't afford it. And we gave away like over 900 classes in 2020. So far in 2019, one of our biggest commitment is to focus the financial help we put in the world, and we decide to give $100,000 to this fund, the fund to get this ancient wisdom much more quickly translated and help Geshe Michael sort of realize his dream of getting all that ancient wisdom filtering through to organizations like 3 Jewels, the Gold Club, and all the other organizations that are using this ancient wisdom. So far, we're at over 400 days in volunteer hours, $50,000+ in scholarships, and almost 900 days of classes of free or by donation classes. So I wanted to celebrate that and invite you to donate, if you can, as much as you can or as little as you can, whatever you can. Every little amount will help get organizations and people around the world grab real wisdom that can transform real crises into real opportunities for thousands and thousands of real people like you and me. So that's my invitation to you. I'm sure Yulia and the team are going to share some more, but one last warning from Mahatma Gandhi. He says, first, they will ignore you. Then they will laugh at you because you're doing something silly. Then they'll fight you, but then you'll win. And so stay true to your vision. If you understand the pen, if you understand that there's this infinite potential inside of you, if you're interested at all in the potential in your mind, don't worry about the haters, the people who say silly things. Act to your true motivation. Do what you really need to do to transform your world, because you've got to be that change you want to see in the world. And that's my talk. Thanks so much for listening to me. I wish I could have seen your faces, but heartfelt, I really, really want you to get this essence that there is this power in you that you can access at any time. The easiest way to do that is help someone else get that power. Thanks so much.
Wow, Hector. Thank you very much. You put my heart on fire. And actually, I'm reading comments from our Russian-speaking community. And I see that you put on fire their hearts also. They really loved, because there are very, very many nice comments. Thank you very much for your wisdom. What I really love, what a beautiful example of this mixture, wisdom, joy, and fun you showed. That's an amazing thing. It's example for all of us, because sometimes we get into deep and we start thinking too much, but we forget about fun, joy, and meditation of joyfulness. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for your time. We have one thing in common of you with Gold Club. We have also 100 volunteers which are working and helping ALL project to fundraise and to keep this wisdom alive. So this is an amazing. And me personally, I really love your Instagram page, 3 Jewels, and I just show it to everyone and say them, look how amazing they do it. I need to consult them. How do they do it so nicely? So thank you very much. And guys, on behalf of our team, we would like to ask you, please help this amazing project, you will have now a link to donate on chat for Romanian speaking community, for German speaking community, and Russian speaking community. Please choose your community, and if you can, please donate. I would like to share one picture with you right now. So first of all, I would like to thank you very much for your donation, because until today, we've fundraised $13,881. Thank you very much for our Russian-speaking community. You are amazing. And as you know, our goal is 30,000 by end of August. And we really hope you will be able to help Geshe Michael, to help him together. Please put in chat box, yes, if you already donated. So I did, and personally, if you can also do this practice. I know that we already asked you for donation, and as Maria already told, we will ask you again and again, because we really want to help Geshe Michael to make his dream come true, so that all these 11 projects can serve for many, many generations ahead. And this wisdom spreads all over the world. So during this series of webinars, we will ask you again and again to make this donation. And if you can, sure, do it. If you cannot, no problem. It doesn't matter the amount. What really matters is that you are planting amazing seeds for prosperity, for financial freedom, for teacher, which will be always with you, for wisdom, which will be always available, because you are helping spreading this wisdom by donating any amount of money. So I would like to say that this is very, very, very rare chance for us that Geshe Michael requests us to help him directly, to help not only one project, but 11. It means like 1 + 1 = 11. What a nice synergy, right? What a powerful seed is planting. So I will go just quickly through, I know that you probably know, but I would like to go quickly through all these organizations of Geshe Michael. So here are 11: Sedona College of International Management, Diamond Cutter Classics, Asian Legacy Library, actually Russian-speaking community. All this and all these webinars are serving Asian Legacy Library Project, Diamond Cutter Press, the Knowledge Base, which is amazing, amazing pool of information which you can use free of charge and take your wisdom. Diamond Mountain Retreat Center, Green Stretch Pen, 3 Jewels, Yoga Studios Institute, Asian Classics Institute, DCI. Wow, so many projects we serve at the same time. So again, thank you very much for this, for attending this webinar. Thank you very much for donating. I would like to invite you 27th of July for next webinar, and I would like to invite you and your children for this webinar. Will be really amazing. And I would like to remind that Hector told us he will be giving a present for those who will donate any amount until 27th of July. So please do it and we will send you your present. Have a nice evening or day and see you soon. Bye-bye.